It's time for Cookies and Crime. This is the story of Anatoly Moskvin. In 2011, police were investigating a series of grave desecrations in cemeteries in and around Nizhny Novgorod, Russia. I may be saying these wrong, sorry if I am. Investigators discovered 26 bodies in the apartment and garage of Anatoly Moskvin, a 45-year-old Russian linguist and historian. The bodies were of women between the ages of 3 and 25, but they weren't just the exhumed bodies. They had been mummified by Moskvin and made to look like dolls. Moskvin was arrested November 2, 2011, and had a psychiatric evaluation determining that he had suffered a form of paranoid schizophrenia. In May 2012, he was sentenced to court-ordered psychiatric evaluation and has been held in a psychiatric hospital since. Moskvin's motive was that he felt great sympathy for the dead children and thought that they could be brought back to life by either science or black magic. Moskvin was an expert in Celtic culture and learned that the ancient Druids slept on graves in order to communicate with the spirits of the dead. Moskvin started searching for obituaries of recently deceased children, and when he found an obituary that spoke to him, he would sleep on the child's grave in order to determine if the spirit wished to be brought back to life. He claimed that he had been doing this for about 20 years and insisted that he never dug up a grave without the permission of the child. That was dead. But as he grew older, it was too physically painful for him to sleep on the grave, so he began bringing the bodies home where he would be more comfortable to sleep near them. He believed that the spirits would be more willing to speak in a safe, welcoming home and easier to hear if they weren't underground. Moskvin learned mummification theories and techniques so that he could preserve the bodies. He then used different methods to turn them into dolls in an attempt to give them functional bodies that they can use when he eventually brought them back to life. He felt that their physical remains were too decayed and ugly for them to feel comfortable and happy. Because he mummified them, the bodies kept on shrinking as they dried, so he would wrap them in strips of cloth and stuff the body cavity with rags and padding to provide fullness. Then he started adding masks decorated with nail polish over the faces and then started dressing them in brightly colored children's clothes and wigs. So they basically looked like large homemade dolls, which made them really hard to discover, and which is why his parents thought he was just making large dolls instead of taking bodies of dead girls. Moskvin knew very well that he was committing a crime, but he felt that the dead children were calling out to be rescued, and that was more important than obeying the law. Moskvin denied any sexual attraction to the dolls and instead considered them to be his children. He always wanted a daughter and attempted to adopt a young girl, but his application was denied because he had low income. He would speak to the corpses, sing to them, and even held birthday parties and celebrated holidays for them. Moskvin obviously was never able to bring one corpse back to life.